An organization has to make it a priority to be resilient. They have to really look at their staff as a whole, look at who they're hiring as a whole, who they bring into the organization, what they're bringing into the organization, and the intentionality of practice matters.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome for our Vicarious Trauma training for the Baltimore Child Abuse Center for this month. We're going to be talking about self-knowledge and insight and sense of hope.
We really embrace the whole resiliency and vicarious trauma training because no matter what job you do in this agency, it impacts you. We do our monthly staff meeting, and we always include some type of vicarious trauma piece.
Because we're all impacted by vicarious trauma.
Addressing it agency-wide and kind of put some things in place that will help people be healthy.
Ruby and I were talking, okay, how do we make this fun? How do we make it not just cut and dry, but actually interesting and engaging to everyone?
Because we don't want to just be talking at you. We want you to kind of get involved.
When we start talking about building up and tearing down, like, okay, we can do Jenga. We wrote up the different little sayings, things that tear you down, and put them on strips, and we put them in a box.
And when you read it out, you'll come over, you'll take out one of the Jenga pieces, and we'll do that until it falls.
Oh, that was impressive.
Listening to a child's story of abuse.
Frustrated by a client not doing what you think they should do.
Having difficulty sleeping. Group dynamics is something that I always pay attention to. Who's comfortable talking, who's maybe not as comfortable talking. Are there different pieces that really resonate with people?
Constantly feeling drained.
People have been there, they're experiencing it.
Feel overwhelmed and run down.
And I think that can be a great clue to the organization as a whole.
Confusion of role and responsibilities.
Maybe this is something we need to talk about, or we need to look at, or we need to get back to.
Feel like you have to do everything yourself. That's very true.
Yeah.
When we talked about what brings you down, there were so many grunts and groans, and you could say, like, wow, okay, they feel the same way I do. I'm not the only person going through this. We are all going through it together.
As a manager, I understand what unhealthy people can do to an organization. It makes a difficult job even more difficult when you have unhealthy employees because they tend to spill out on other people, and that creates bigger problems.
Get extremely frustrated with office politics.
Having people read out loud the things that could happen to tear them down and watching it fall, it opens communication. So once it falls, we'll go back around and we'll build ourselves back up. We work as a team, and I think it helps to also have these experiences of letting go as a team.
In our circle today, we had members from Department of Social Service, Child Protective Services. We also had the family advocate from the State's Attorney's Department. We had our medical doctor here for BCAC as a part of the team, and then our forensic interviewers, our child care providers, our administrative assistants.
When you take all these negative things that we just talked about in our jobs that we deal with every day, and we have to do some things to help build us up. And that helps with the resiliency.
Agency's values align with your own.
Very good.
On each of the Jenga pieces, there is a little piece of how to build it back up.
Okay, tell us a joke or a knock-knock joke. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Interrupting cow.
Interrupting cow.
We came up with some good things, and then we kind of planned some activities because we really wanted to be not just reading, but tell us what you do, to build resiliency.
How do you recharge after a long week? Movie night with my husband and kids.
All right.
So I have share your favorite quote, and mine is be the best you that you can be. Building it back up together, it really does start to come together of what are all of these things that we bring to the table that can really help us to move forward and to build it back up.
I have a set of personal values and beliefs.
I love how the Baltimore Child Abuse Center staff, we always work as a team. So even though our days are tough, somebody's always there to share in and help you.
We can be of support for one another. And I think unless we have the platform to really talk about what vicarious trauma is and how we can cope with it. I think some people may feel like they're exempt from it, and none of us really are.
What makes you hopeful? I am hopeful that we can defeat this wicked disease of child sexual abuse.
Me doing this job, over the years I had to learn how to block things out and not think of, what's truly going on. And having this exercise has given me a big thought that I need to think a little more about me, to keep that in mind.
What do you love about your job? The camaraderie.
Make it a priority that once a month you're going to sit down and you're going to talk about vicarious trauma. It's one of the reasons why I chose to come work here, because I knew I would have that support built in.
If you don't commit the time to it, it won't get done. And once we understood that our work is never going to be done, then it's just taking out a half hour, 45 minutes is not going to put us that far behind.
Great.